we're back on a Monday night. I have a couple special guests with me today that I'm really excited about. To my right here, is Mr. Randy Farrar, owner of Harvest to You, which we're going to talk about. Also with me to his right is my good friend Dina Yelly, and she's going to be here for the next few weeks talking about her journey. Now, I invited both of these great people to come on today with me because the topic specifically is industrial food and what's on your plate, which we've talked a little bit about before. Reference one of our videos with the great Paul Grieve from Primal Pastures. That was one of the videos that we had done. And we talked about industrial protein. I am going to be, I'll just bring it up here. I am going to be posting this image in this blog post or in this series later today. And I'm writing a blog on it right now. So partly what I'm trying to do is research my blog. And that is part of the reason why we have Randy here to answer some of the questions. And so if you haven't read our industrial food blog, please go to www.iamacleaneater.com and you'll be able to watch that video and read that blog that we've done already on the iamacleaneater.com website. So today, first of all, thank you guys for joining me today and helping educate me. Sure. And I think a lot of people need to be educated on this because it wasn't that long ago when, you know, I moved to California 22 years ago, okay? And what was happening was every time I said, gosh, all this building is happening, it's great, all this stuff is going on. And I would say to my husband, I go, but what was there before? And so, oh, probably a farm. I go, oh, well then where'd the farm go? Well, the farm has now condos on it, right? Or some other, you know, luxurious hotel. And so I'm thinking, but how does that work if there's more people in the population coming and there's less farms? How do we get our food? So I remember saying this to him several times, and each time he'd be like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird, huh? And they'd be like, oh, where do you want to go for dinner? Oh yeah, okay, let's just go. And it would just be like, that's it. We never drilled down, okay? And this is what is so amazing to me is now that I've owned Artisan's Palette for 5 years, and I start to understand more and more about food, start to understand what is on our plates. What are we buying? What is everybody going out and getting? And when we say, oh, well, I'm just going to have, you know, I eat mostly vegetables at night. I go, great, so do I, but where did your vegetables come from, and what's the difference between your vegetables at the industrial produce level and what we're going to talk about with Randy and your company and what you do differently. But let's start first by informing and educating us. What is industrial produce?
Industrial produce to me is just like a manufacturing company laying their operation down on a plot of land. Okay. And they have a process of growing their crops in a perfect row, furrow farming. They're not concerned about the soil health. Okay. Organic matter doesn't matter. Nutrient content only matters in the fact that they should have a certain amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium, but they can correct those deficiencies with synthetic fertilizers. Oh. So because they're not feeding the soil, the nutrient value of the soil is going down every year, and they have to just continue to keep adding synthetic fertilizer.
Right. And that's how they get it. And now, is that related to monoculture?
In monoculture is when you grow one crop over hundreds and hundreds of acres.
Okay,
that's
so
monoculture.
So what would be an example? Like a crop would be corn.
Okay, corn.
Okay,
right.
So that's a crop, and monoculture means we have all of this acreage, and we're just going to grow corn year after year after year.
Well, they might rotate corn with soybeans. But monoculture is when you grow one plant over hundreds of acres or over 20 acres. Okay. So it's more susceptible to insects because they don't have to jump any other type of plant. They can go from corn to corn to corn. It's susceptible to diseases because it's just one plant.
Okay.
And because they're spraying pesticides, there's no natural predators for the pests. So yeah, that's monoculture. It's planting one plant.
Planting one plant over a long 20 acres or whatever that is.
Right.
And then, but what industrial produce and monoculture have in common is the synthetic fertilizers. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
And manufactured farming to me uses monoculture.
Okay. So it's kind of one and the same.
It's just lettuce or cotton. A good example is what they did in Arizona probably 80 years ago.
Okay.
A lot of the desert areas of Arizona were cotton fields at one time.
Okay.
But they got to a point where they couldn't grow cotton anymore, and they just abandoned it. And so all the native vegetation's gone. Nothing's been able to come back and grow. So now they have just deserts. And that's what we're doing with manufactured farming is we're creating deserts.
Oh, wow.
You can see it in our vineyards where the soil's getting sandier and sandier.
Why? Because they just keep planting the same thing.
Well, they keep cultivating the soil, and they're not adding organic matter back into it. So it's getting sandier and sandier. I have one neighbor down the street. They cultivated their property so much, weeds won't even grow on their property anymore. It's just one barren area. It's like 3 acres of just barren dirt.
Wow.
And I always
kind of like taking all the nutrients out of the dirt and they're not adding any back. So it's just dead.
Actually what they've done is they've prevented any organic matter from going into the soil.
But you're saying even weeds or anything won't grow on that.
Yeah,
so
no.
It's basically dead soil.
And one teaspoon of healthy soil, a teaspoon of healthy soil has 1 billion organisms, microorganisms.
Wow.
And when you're cultivating, especially in a semi-arid environment like Temecula or Southern California, you're destroying that. You're burning up that organic matter. You're turning it up, and when you add nitrogen, it's like adding cocaine. The microorganisms just go crazy, and they're just eating up all the organic matter, and then you're killing your soil over time.
Okay, so let's go back 80 years ago, because you brought up 80 years ago what they did with cotton. So this has been happening for the past, 100 years, but it's kind of like it just keeps getting worse and worse, right? So in an ideal, like when we had farmers, and I know this is kind of what we're coming back to, what you guys are doing, why you're so special, and why we need to pay attention to what Harvest to You is doing. But let's go back first before we come forward. So 100 years ago, we had farmers. How were things being farmed?
Well, it wasn't. In some cases, it wasn't any better because you can look at the Dust Bowl.
Okay.
That was because we went, oh my gosh, look at these prairie lands. They're lush, they're fertile. And they just had these sod busters that would go in there and just tear up the prairies. They'd plant their corn, their wheat. And what they really didn't realize is that they were doing the same thing. They were creating a soil that wasn't being held down. So when the winds came, they lost feet, literally feet of soil. And that just went into the air.
But that happened partially because there was no education on how to farm.
Exactly.
Right, but then we learned stuff, and we learned this is how to farm. So what are some of the basics when we say, okay, we want to farm produce, good produce? What are some of the basics that we need to understand that we were doing, that we learned from the Dust Bowl, and then we lost now with industrial produce, and that we're trying to come back to?
Well, what they learned to do was they plowed differently.
Okay.
So it didn't necessarily, the chunks are bigger. If they're going to leave a field fallow, that means empty. Fallow means they're not going to do anything with it for a season. They cultivated it differently, so that the soil wouldn't. The dirt clods are bigger.
Okay.
They also use cover crops. So you would grow your corn, and because corn is a nitrogen feeder, it uses up a lot of nitrogen in the soil. They would follow that with soybeans or clover, a cover crop, which fixes nitrogen back into the soil.
Okay.
And then all the plant stems and leaves would be put back in. And then the following year, they'd grow corn again.
Okay.
Or they'd rotate. They also did crop rotation. In my style of farming, I don't repeat a crop in the same plot for 2 years. Okay. So if I grow corn here, I won't grow it here again for 2 years. I'll use it in a different section of my farm.
Right. So that's crop rotation, right?
Rotation.
And similar to what we were talking to Paul with the animals, because he rotates the animals on his farming for primal pastures, right? So it's a similar idea because you have to get the nutrients back into the soil. I know there's a product that we sell in the store. It's called Maca, which is amazing for balancing hormones. There's like 27 different varietals of maca. It has to grow at 14,500 feet. There's all this criteria for it. But part of it is we have an heirloom maca, and once they harvest it, they don't touch the land for 7 years.
They just let it go fallow.
Yes. Yeah.
They let all the native plants come in and just take over. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. And so when people say, oh, you know, and this is what I'm getting back to here. So somebody says, oh, I've taken maca. I said, well, you haven't taken this maca. So the same with the produce that you're producing now, and you're because I know you're a farmer, but you also work with other farmers. We can't be comparing that local organic produce to industrial produce or even industrial organic produce.
Right.
And that's the differentiation I really want to hone in on today and explain what those differences are. So, well, the average person is going to go to the grocery store 1 to 2 times per week. They're going to visit a grocery store either close to 50,000 square feet, which is your average size Vaughn's, or Trader Joe's at 15,000 square feet, or they're going to go to a big box store with 144,000 square feet, right? So they've got all these big places having all this great stuff, and everybody's buying the same stuff. But I go into a store like that and say, I can't buy anything in the store. Like, it's like there is barely anything in here for me, right? So that's the difference between that. I want to get the point across of clean eating. You need to understand what's on your plate, where it came from, how it got there, right? Every item is going to have a story. So what is something that's local, organic to our area, and how it got to our plate versus buying that same item? Let's say it's broccoli, okay? So the broccoli that we're going to get from our box from Harvest to You versus the broccoli at industrial produce and then industrial organic. What would be the differences?
Well, our organic broccoli is not GMO.
Okay, right.
So that's to be certified
industrial organic.
Yeah. Well, industrial organic cannot be GMO.
Correct.
If it's industrial, commercial
just
industrial,
regular commercial,
it's going to be probably GMO.
Yeah.
Broccoli, I'm not quite sure if they've GMO'd broccoli yet.
Okay.
But it's definitely a new variety. Something you said earlier kind of triggered something in my mind. One of the reasons why farmers grow heirloom vegetables, it's not because it's cool and they're heirlooms, it's because those were developed like 100 years ago when practices were organic.
Yes.
These vegetables are able to, they're more resistant to insects, diseases. They may not be as productive as a modern variety, but when a farm gets devastated by insects, the organic farm will always outproduce those because they're used to it.
Right.
So yeah, broccoli grown locally with our local farmer, he's a master.
Okay.
I almost worship this farmer.
Oh my God, tell me.
He is just amazing. Our broccoli is like, it's mutant. It's huge.
Okay.
Okay. And the leaves are gigantic. So our broccoli will have all the leaves on it. Yeah. It'll be big. The broccoli in the stores will be all cut up. You'll just have the broccoli. We give everybody everything.
Okay.
And the soil is being taken care of, so it's going to be more nutritionally dense.
Okay. Because he's rotated it? Is that what? So he's grown that broccoli this season,
right?
And then where does it go after that?
Well, he may grow broccoli again in that same field, but he does crop rotation. He'll put a legume in there.
Okay.
He'll grow other crops in there. He's got 25 acres.
Okay.
This is a farmer who's raised his family and sending his daughters to college on 25 acres.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's impressive.
So he rotates it. He's just a master. He's just very, very good. For instance, our beets we make sure that our beets are huge.
Yes, they're beautiful.
Compared
to beautiful beets. I get a box every week. It's beautiful.
Beets and chard are the same exact vegetable. They have the same genus and species. So people don't realize you can treat the beet leaves just like chard leaves. So we leave the leaves on our beets for people.
Yeah.
So did I answer your question?
Yes. So pretty much. So we have some sort of crop. We're talking broccoli, but it could be something else.
Right.
And then I want to really hit home what the difference would be from the family that's going to buy the broccoli tonight or some other vegetable that's industrial, and then industrial organic, and then local organic. Okay? So it could be a different crop. It could be different than broccoli. I just want to, so I think we've answered it in the sense that the industrial broccoli could be GMO'd. It's not going to have nutrient-dense soil.
Right.
Right? So that's going to be the industrial, and we don't even know where it was grown.
Nope.
Right? That's another thing. It's just like, oh, here's broccoli. I'm going to put it in my basket. I don't know where it came from. There it is.
How long it's been from.
How long it's been, yeah.
Well, you know it's not fresh.
Right. So how long can it be from when you've, when it grew to when they pick it, get on the truck, and then get to the store?
It depends. With some vegetables, fruits and vegetables, they can spray it with certain chemicals to keep them fresher longer.
Yeah.
This is I just remembered my wife and I placed a commercial manufactured broccoli on our counter, and it stayed fresh looking for a month.
Oh.
And then we placed an organic broccoli on the counter, and it melted like within a week.
Yeah.
So there's something going on. They're either GMO or they're spraying it. The nice thing about Harvest U is all of our vegetables have been picked within 24 hours.
Yes.
My citrus always gets picked that same day that they're delivered.
Yes.
So the biggest difference between is they're spraying or using chemicals, plus manufactured organic is not going to be local. Again, that's going to come.
Still spraying. The industrial organic still sprays.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're using organic pesticides, which are killing both the good and the bad insects.
Yeah.
And that still is on your crop.
Yes.
My farmer here, the one that I was talking about earlier, he doesn't use any organic pesticides.
Right. Yeah. So it's true, like no spray, true organic, true local. You know where, like everything has a little lineage. You know, oh, here's the broccoli coming from this farmer here in Vista or wherever he's from within this area, and that's getting to your point. Yeah. So that's the biggest difference, is the freshness, knowing that it has this lineage, and knowing what you're getting from, and the cost really isn't any more.
No, natural farming is what I practice.
Okay.
Is the inputs, there's no inputs. The only inputs that I have, water and hay. And I'm starting to grow my own grain, so I'll eventually have all my own hay. So I'll have hardly any inputs. So it's actually...
What do you mean when you say an input?
Input is water, fertilizer, pesticides, or herbicide, things that you're bringing in off the farm onto your farm. It's an input. Okay. I don't use any heavy equipment on my farm, so I don't have any heavy equipment. I don't cultivate my soil. So I believe local, natural, organic farming, I believe the produce can be just as inexpensive as regular produce.
Okay. And that's what you personally practice.
That's what I personally practice.
Right. But then Harvest to You works with how many local farmers in the area?
We have about 10 local farmers that we work with on and off.
Okay.
I'm one of the farmers. I grow all the citrus we have right now, and then all the pomegranates.
Were you growing the avocados?
No.
Okay, but those big avocados were awesome.
Another farm up in the wine country, believe it or not.
Okay.
And those are bacon avocados.
Okay.
You know, Fallbrook in San Diego County used to be the avocado capital of the world, right?
Yes.
You know, years ago. That's what they grew. They grew the bacon and forte avocados, but the problem is that bacon, the skin slips. It's too thin.
Yes.
You notice that?
Yes.
And then you slice into it. It's like eating butter.
Oh, they're so delicious.
Right. And then Haas is a marketing dream because consumers know when it's ripe when it's black.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the skin's really thick.
Yes.
So you can throw it up against the wall and it's going to be okay. So,
have you tried that, Randy?
I have done it, yes. Yes, I have done it.
So you work with around 10 local farmers from, so we're in Temecula, so do you go north of here and south of here, or just mostly south?
We have some in La Cresta.
Okay.
Bonzel.
Okay.
Towards Palomar Mountain. Okay. And what's really great, our fruits and vegetables are coming from different microclimates. So you get the advantage of the different soils, different climates. We may, well, we live in a dream area because we can grow lettuce and broccoli and chard all year long here, theoretically.
Yeah.
So, and then, there's some fruits and vegetables that I can't grow here, but we can grow in Bonzel.
Right.
Because they don't get as much frost.
Right, because the microclimates.
Right.
Yeah, it's such a great thing. So now, we've been getting a box from Harvest 2 for about a year. It's so beautiful. This box is so fresh, and there's so much stuff in the box. I think there's so much value in the box. We do a lot of videos on it. I just cannot, I'm constantly telling people, you need to get your box from Harvest 2. So walk us through the process. You can go online at www.harvest2u.com.
Harvest2.com.
Okay. And then what options does the consumer have at that point when they're on the site to customize the box, and what do they have to get what they want?
Exactly. Well, there's two categories. There's a farmer's choice, which is a little more economical because we pick the produce, so you get a good selection of greens and fruits and vegetables. And then we have the customization category. And in each of those categories, we have 3 sizes. We have single, which I call the mini-me, small. It's a cute little box. They get 8 items. Then they have the personal, they get 10. And the family, they get 13 items.
Oh.
And so if people want to customize, I don't want kale. I hate kale. They get 5 default items. And then they get to pick 8 for the family. And they can pick more carrots. They can pick more strawberries. They can pick more people pick more avocados.
More avocado.
It's really cool because, I help my staff pack on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning, and I'm blown away every single time at how unbelievable the produce is.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally, I'm thinking, look at the celery. Isn't the celery incredible?
It's beautiful. Yeah. Everything. There hasn't been one thing that it's always comes in so fresh and beautiful. Yeah.
I can guarantee you that there might be an insect on one of them.
Oh yes.
Which is a good sign.
It's a good sign. We get ladybugs. They're very cute.
Ladybugs are great.
I love the ladybugs. Yeah. They're awesome. Okay, so that's easy. Go on Harvest 2, and then you deliver. Where are the areas that you deliver?
We have a zip code finder in there, or a zip code locator. So you just enter your zip code. But we go as far north as Hemet and Menifee.
Okay.
And then as far south as Fallbrook.
Okay, so Fallbrook. So would that fit into? Would Vista fit into that?
Vista's too far.
Too far.
We decided that Vista was just too far.
Okay, so
we want to stay local.
Okay.
We want to really be local. Because we were finding ourselves just going all over the place.
Yeah.
For one person.
It's too much, so you have to really, And I'm excited because you and I had talked about this for a while, and I'm hoping to be ready to do this in the next couple months, I hope, before full-on summer. But we're going to do a little basket. What are they called? Like those little grape baskets?
I know. I loved what you picked.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was.
So really cute. It's a little basket, and then we're going to do super mini version, which will have like maybe...
You called it a salad bowl.
Yes,
I love that concept.
Salad bowl, yes. So in it, you'll just be able to pick it up. There'll be some herbs, maybe 3 heads of lettuce. It'll be perfect for, the onesie person or just a husband-wife team that just needs something small, even though there's still the small items, but just the salad items, and that way it's not
overwhelming.
Sometimes people are intimidated, and it's like, kohlrabi, what is that? I don't even know how to spell it, and so it's like, what do I do with it?
Exactly.
And then, or fennel, like I use fennel every day. It's almost every single day I use fennel. I love fennel, and people will come to me and say, what do you do with this? I don't know what fennel is.
I need to cut this part of the video out.
Why?
Because nobody knows what to do with fennel.
Oh my God, fennel! You have to use it. Okay, so saute fennel with everything. So I love, I do a lot of onion first, and onion, fennel, and then add another vegetable. The flavor that it imparts is so beautiful. So a lot of people call fennel anise.
Right.
And so both of they're the right terms, but you can eat it raw, and when you eat it raw, it tastes like licorice.
Yes.
But when you cook it, it imparts a really sweet flavor.
Oh, really?
So, it's wonderful. I'm Italian, so I mean we lived on phenols, and so I just use fennel in almost everything. It doesn't matter when I'm cooking; fennel's going in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. That's good to know.
And the fronds are really nice, so you can use them. Anywhere where you would use dill, you can substitute it as well. Different flavor, but same idea, because the fronds look like dill fronds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So if anybody has any tips on using fennel, please drop them in the comments below.
Great.
Yeah. So I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover. We want to continue this series, which is What's on Your Plate. I'm going to post this image in this video here, and then there's going to be a blog on it as well, which I'm still working on the blog. But I wanted to really, start explaining this concept of industrial food versus industrial organic versus local organic. Right. And then if Randy's good enough, he'll come back and start educating us on industrial grain.
Grain or potatoes, we have to decide.
Oh, the potato story. That's right.
After doing the research that I've done,
yes.
I will never eat a non-organic potato ever again.
Let's
That's
put it
scary,
in. Let's leave them with that.
Yes.
And we will come back with you in the next couple weeks with our wonderful guest, Randy, again from Harvest to You.
Thanks for having me, Tia.
Oh, you're welcome. This is awesome. I'm
Great,
just trying to inform and educate as many people as possible on just what the choices that we all make every single day of what's on our plate.
Great.
So until next time, Dina, thanks for joining us as well. We will be back. Thanks again. Bye-bye.